Here is a man representing a country once called poor, a country which never was our colonizer. But there you are. He is doing to us what we expected those who colonized us yesterday to do. Let them, if they have ears to hear, let them hear.
Well, fellow Africans, we all know that we are at a point where many of us are asking ourselves, like, should Africa face East or West? And if I talk of East, I'm talking of countries like China, India, Japan, and any other Asian countries. And if I talk of the West, I'm talking about, famously known, the America, and even the Europe, who have always come up with, the Western-centric cultures and values to Africa since colonialism. Today, I came across a certain powerful video of Robert Mugabe, the late and the former president of Zimbabwe, and he was actually talking about on how China is a good friend to Africa, better than even our colonizers. Anyway, before you even get started, thank you very much for tuning in to Africaismarwa, and I believe that you're loving the conversation of ensuring that we make Africa to be truly ours. It's been a journey since colonialism, and Africa has been fighting the power to independence, and yet every elections leaders come and still, focus much on the Western-centric goals, on the divide and conquer. But as Africans, we have actually realized on the games that they've been playing for a very long time, and we really want to ensure that we bring these conversations on board so that each and every person takes the ownership of Africa. And that is why Africaismarwa is actually urging you to subscribe to the channel so that anytime we do or have such conversations, you're able to get notifications on the videos, because we want you to take the ownership of Africa. So please, if you're coming for the first time, don't forget to hit on that notification bar, and don't forget to subscribe so that whenever we post a video, you're going to get it on the pop-up timeline. If you're coming for another time, you've already known that Africa is Marwa. Africa is ours. And the conversation is really heating up, on how the policies are changing. Even if you look at the US, people are really wanting us to take the mantle of the African conversation. So thank you very much for coming back. And I hope you share this video wide with every African so that we continue taking that ownership. So anyway, let's get started. Mugabe actually criticized, our colonizers and the cultures that were trying to impose to us, and how he was against them. And if you're a true follower of Robert Mugabe, you know how he was against Britain. Even if you check on the shots that we've been posting, it's Mugabe telling Tony Blair that he should keep his Britain, and Mugabe to keep his Zimbabwe. It's because of the policies that they were trying to bring in. And then came in a very good friend of Africa, which was China, through President Xi Jinping. We know for a very long time, many countries have been, ruled, looking at the systems even, they've been following their colonizers, the systems that they were left for them. Talk about even the language. We adopted so many things. The education system, each and every system was coming from the colonizers. But for a very long time, many Africans came to realize that these systems were actually to lead us more into neocolonialism, and to keep us, blinded on how Africa can be independent, because the West, of course, and our colonizers wanted us to keep on relying on them in each and everything. And that is why they really have their puppets as leaders. And that is why in each and every elections, They tried their best to ensure that they get their puppets on board. They support them in each and every way. And this has been ongoing for a long time. But now the conversation is coming out, and we've seen with the formation of BRICS actually, trying to take over Africa and supporting even the Sahel states, leaders like Ibrahim Traore and leaders like Ramaphosa, who have actually come out so strongly supporting the East. And at this point, Africa is in more of a dilemma. We don't know where should we follow. Are we going to go more of the East or the West? But I just want us to, take a time and listen to what Robert Mugabe had to say in this powerful, powerful speech about China and the relationship that they have with Africa.
Your Excellencies, Co-Chairman, President Jacob Zuma, and President Xi Jinping. Your Excellencies, heads of state and government, Your Excellency, the representative of Secretary General of the United Nations, if present, Your Excellency Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, Chairperson of the African Union Commission, Honorable Ministers, ladies and gentlemen, comrades and friends. Before I read my statement, I must say, after listening to President Xi Jinping, a speech so rich in forms of assistance covering practically all our sectors, be they agricultural, mining, infrastructural, industrial, etc., etc., poverty included, poverty alleviation, our children and the women. So much, so many facets of assistance. I'm sure you will agree with me that we give him a round of applause. A round of applause. Here is a man. Here is a man representing a country once called poor. A country which never was our colonizer. But there you are. He is doing to us what we expected those who colonized us yesterday to do. Let them, if they have ears to hear, let them hear. We will say he's a God-sent person. May God bless China and its people. Ladies and gentlemen, I am deeply honored to address this historic second summit of the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation, FOCAC. On behalf of the African Union, I would like to express our sincere gratitude to our hosts for the warm welcome and hospitality extended to us. Co-chairman, I am particularly pleased that the second summit is a clear demonstration of the friendship, mutual respect and understanding between African countries and China. Our relationship with China has stood the test of time and is destined to continue flourishing for many years to come. Co-Chairman, I feel highly honored to take the floor immediately after President Xi Jinping has made the much anticipated announcement of new measures, which are historic and destined to change and to inject more vibrancy into the already dynamic relationship between China and Africa. I therefore take this opportunity to express our sincere and profound gratitude. Once again, our detractors have sought to portray and reduce our relations to purely commercial ties driven, in their view, as they say, by China's appetite for and desire to extract raw materials from our continent. That's what they say. On the contrary, reality, fortunately, does not conform to such distorted, imaginative creations. Our relations go much deeper than the extraction of resources. We are committed to strengthening the current and multifaceted and multidimensional relations between African countries and China. Co-Chairman, 15 years ago, China and Africa decided to establish a platform founded on a strategic partnership to address issues of common development. The two partners agreed to promote a shared world vision based on peaceful development, mutual respect, and win-win cooperation. At this summit, we celebrate a milestone in the evolution of this platform on China-Africa cooperation. We therefore rededicate ourselves to the principal guidelines of our relations and to the mutuality of the outcomes we seek in our cooperation in the political, economic, cultural, and security spheres. Since the inception of FOCAC, we have witnessed tremendous growth in the relations between Africa and China. China has become Africa's premier investment and trading partner, a trend which has scaled up Africa-China trade volumes to $400 billion by 2020, from $220 billion in 2014. Co-Chairman, we commend efforts by FOCAC to deepen institutional ties with regional bodies, such as the African Union and its structures, as well as the African Development Bank. We acknowledge the achievements made so far in the implementation of the pledges that China made in the areas of trade, investment and financing, agriculture, human capital development, health, environment, market access, and regional integration. Co-chairpersons, dear colleagues, we welcome China's support for our determination to transform our country's economies through an industrialization strategy, which is driven by beneficiation and value addition of our natural resources and agricultural products. We also deeply appreciate China's willingness and readiness to continue to be a key partner in the development of our infrastructure at the national, regional, and continental levels. This year, several groupings of African countries took some major decisions that, when implemented, will give strong impetus to improving intra-African trade and in offering our external partners, such as China, a much larger source and trade market. The Continental Free Trade Area and COMESA, East African Community, and SADC Tripartite Free Trade Area should contribute to integrating Africa's markets and in facilitating the free movement of goods and means of production. Co-Chairman, there is no doubt that the rise of China and Africa as two significant players will have a positive and far-reaching impact in international relations that ensure the democratization of the international system of governance. The perpetuation of the historic injustice of the current system, be it in the United Nations Security Council or the Bretton Woods institutions, is unhealthy and undesirable. And now, together with China, we shall fight for real democracy at the United Nations. We continue to count on China's support and solidarity, therefore, in redressing this situation. Co-Chairman, the past 15 years of our cooperation in the context of FOCAC shows that this forum has induced and has been responsive to the dynamics of our evolving relationships. As we go forward in pursuit of implementing the global development agenda that we adopted in New York at the United Nations last September, it is proper that we assess the efficiency of our forum in the new development context. I am in no doubt that we will carry out this exercise with sincerity, mutual trust, friendship, and focus on concrete results, which are the bedrock of the foundations of FOCAC. Dear colleagues, distinguished delegates, as I conclude, I am confident that our deliberations here in Johannesburg will reinforce the interdependence between China and Africa as we pursue our shared vision. Long live Africa-China relationship. Long live the Forum for Africa-China Cooperation. And I thank you.
Well, so that was Robert Mugabe, and if you followed his speech up to the end, you actually had on the key areas that he touches on how China has actually been doing so well, opposed to even our colonizers of the West. And this video, since 9 years ago, this was even before, BRICS was way popular. But at the moment, you've seen many African countries are leaning more into the East, and they're trying to make new collaborations with China because they believe, looking at infrastructure or even how they handle the partnership with Africa, is way better than how our colonizers did or how the West do. So anyway, what do you think? Do you think Robert Mugabe was actually right to bring in this conversation? It has been 9 years, and this conversation is just actually coming into more of a realization. It's more of like a prophecy, and we're yet to see many African countries leaning more to the east, especially after President Trump clinched into power. And we all know the executive orders that he actually made, and one of them that have actually affected so so many states in Africa is on the the issue of US aid and doing away with the foreign aid to Africa, and this has actually rendered so many jobless and talking about even the diseases that they were trying to fight. So this is telling us as Africans that the America or the West no longer wants any partnership with us, and I don't know what it means, but we're really waiting to see, especially with Trump's leadership, on how things are going to, you know, fall fall by. But I want you to tell me in the comment section what you think. Share with me your knowledge and just let us know on if you think Africa will be leaning more to the west or to the east. Anyway, that was it. So thank you very much for tuning in to Africa is Marwa. I really, really appreciate everyone who has been tuning into Africa is Marwa. I mean, if you're coming for the first time, or if you're coming for the second time, or if you're coming for the third or fourth or any countable amount of time, thank you very much for making sure that you support the conversations about realization of Africa. And this conversation is going to get bigger and bigger. And I know with the uprising of Gen Zs from every part of the African continent, we're going to ensure that this conversation actually comes to a reality. And it's not going to be stories any longer, but it's going to make Africa to be independent. So thank you. Please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't subscribed. And please, please don't forget to share this video with anyone that you think values Africa a lot. Africa is Marwa closes, and we can't wait to see you next time. Bye bye.